Rob. Welcome back.
Thanks very much.
How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been quite productive, I would say. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, that's excellent. I assume you're talking about sewing.
Yes, I'm
productive?
talking about sewing. Yes.
Very good. Okay. Well, before we get into talking about that, we'll just have a quick recap of what we spoke about last time.
Sure.
We had mentioned looking at other businesses that are supplying or making memory cushions, and you had said you'd found a company that was over east, that was online,
Yep.
and you were going to have a look on Etsy
Yep.
to see if you could find any more. Did you manage to do that?
Yeah, I did spend a bit of time looking on Etsy. It turns out there's a number of companies doing memory style cushions, but
Okay.
some of them seem to be quite on the low end. So more or less, you send a photo, they make a cushion out of stock material,
Okay.
transfer the photo onto the material. They're selling them quite cheaply, from between $10 and $20.
Mm.
So there's maybe a dozen of those. Then there's maybe 2 or 3 others on Etsy that are actually doing a very similar to what our idea or what my idea was, making memory cushions out of items of clothing from
Okay.
loved ones. Most of them don't include the writing though, or the 3 that I looked at didn't include the writing, so that could be a bit of a niche for me.
Yeah.
And they are selling them between $80 and $90 per cushion, which is about the price I was looking at for hand sewing,
Yeah.
to make it profitable. So
Okay.
there's not a lot of companies. The one on the East Coast I saw just through a quick web search, and only 3 using items of clothing on Etsy.
Okay.
Although I should point out there were none doing them for pets.
Right.
I didn't find
And that
any
was
companies.
One of your
That was one of our
ideas, yeah,
guys.
okay.
No companies making memory
Mm.
cushions or similar memory cushions for pets.
Oh, that's a good thing to know.
Absolutely.
Very good. So, how did that make you feel, finding out that information?
It was a bit of a mixed bag for that one. So I thought I had a really original idea, and turns out there's no ideas that are absolutely original. But
Yeah.
on the positive note, there's not many others people. There's only 2 or 3 other people Australia-wide that is doing this. So it's definitely, there's
is.
definitely enough room in the market. Plus the other
Yes.
3 makers weren't in WA, they're from interstate. So there's a good chance I'd capture the local market here in Perth and Western Australia. Yeah.
And perhaps also an Eastern States market if what you're offering
Is better quality, or just has that little bit of a difference to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, okay. Because I think we may have discussed that it's something you could easily post
Absolutely,
if
yes.
you needed
Yep.
to. Yeah, okay. We also spoke about you possibly doing some workshops or courses or something to improve your sewing skills. Have
Yes,
you
yeah, I-
thought about that?
I did look into that. There's a couple of sewing workshops, embroidery workshops, and hand sewing, I think, was the big one. If there's any need for if I had to sew on a patch or something like that through hand sewing. The couple of places that offer workshops, I did look into them, looked at the pricing, which seems quite reasonable.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of which one do I want to do first. Do I want to do all of them, or just want to pick one that I feel lacking and book myself in for the next workshop. They tend to run them every couple of months, so I might have to wait
Okay.
for a little while to get into one,
Yeah.
depending on numbers and things like that. But
All
they're
right.
definitely there, and it is something I will do. I think I'll put it on my priority list to do these workshops.
And you feel happy that they're going to provide the kind of things that you're looking for?
I did ring them up, have a chat to them,
Okay.
and I'm pretty confident that
Yeah.
they're offering to teach the sort of skills that I'm looking for. I find it just a bit lacking in my own skill set.
Oh, that's great that you were proactive and talked to them on the phone. That's really good. It's sometimes not easy to do.
No, it is a
Yeah.
tough first step.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I think that was. Oh, we did also mention last week that with your idea of putting the handwriting on the cushions, that you might need some upskilling in the actual technical process.
In the software
Yeah,
usage.
doing that.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
I have thought about. I haven't managed to do much research. I was focusing just on the sewing skills, so
Okay.
that's something that's now top of my Now I've ticked off those goals with the sewing skills. I'll now start looking at updating my computer literacy when it comes to sort of graphic software for cricket cutting and things like that. Yeah, so that's next on my list.
Okay, I may have mentioned last time, I can't remember, that Canva, the website Canva.
I have heard of
familiar
Canva.
with
Yes,
Canva?
not overly familiar, but I have heard of Canva.
Okay, they run courses online that are free on their website.
Okay.
Some are free, some you pay for, but there are quite a lot of really good free ones, and I had a look at those the other day, and I think some of those would be exactly the kind of thing you're looking for.
Is Canva compatible with the cricket machine cutter?
You could produce something in a file format that would be compatible, that you then upload into the cricket software.
Because I thought you'd have to use proprietary software with cricket, but if you can just use Canva or something, then
they
that'd be
like
handy.
you to think that, but no, you don't actually need to. You need to use their software to actually do the cutting part, but you can upload any.
I see, any image
into
file.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that would definitely be worth looking at. Maybe look at some of the shorter videos. You can do some that are 10 minutes or something, and they've got a lot of tips and tricks and information. I picked up a few things when I was having a look at them myself.
Excellent.
Actually. Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I'll just make a note of that. Canva courses. Okay. So, what about you? I think you were going to make a sample cushion. Were you thinking?
I did.
You might do, oh, you've done.
I did bring one. I'll just grab that for you.
Yeah.
I just had a bit of a play around. So this is a very basic one. It's not a full size cushion, so it's quite a basic model. It's got a hidden zip here, so it's not obvious once the cushion's together that the zip is there. So that's that's the benefit of them. It makes it just a nice, cleaner sort of edge.
Yep.
This was made using one of my old shirts, just because I wanted to get a handle on how much material there was, and I could have made a full-size square cushion, but I just thought I'd go with the half cushion for now in case I had to do it twice, but luckily I only did it once.
Yep.
And this is just a standard backing. This is just some old material I had around. So this front bit, that's from an old shirt of mine, that's just some standard backing.
Okay.
Just to see how it would go together in that regard. Yep.
Yeah, that looks great. You can see the zip there.
So it's all overlocked
really
on the inside as well for a bit of added strength.
Okay, lovely. And how long did that take you to make?
Well, first up with the cutting out, it was an hour and a half, but I think once I get going and have a bit of a template going, I could probably streamline that down to half that, to 45 minutes, I'd say.
Okay. That might be something we can play around with maybe during the week, that you could have a look at where you might be able to streamline it. Have you got any ideas, like what part of it took you the longest, or parts, would you say?
Initially it was, in this one it was the cutting out, because I had to try and measure where on the shirt was the best spot to get the right look. If there was a pleat there, do I include the pleat or not include the pleat? Yes. And is there enough material if it's not going to be included? There's no pocket on this one, but I'd certainly incorporate pockets, leave them as is if that's what people wanted, like a shirt pocket. After that, it was probably this hidden zip. Hidden zips can be quite a little bit fiddly, but I do think it makes for a nicer finish, and it's worth doing it. So
you've done a beautiful job of that, I have to say.
It took me a little longer than I wanted it to, but like I say, with streamlining, I could probably get that down quite considerably.
When you put in that invisible zip, are you using a zip foot?
I didn't at first, and that made it nigh on impossible. And then I did a bit of Googling, a bit of YouTubing, and found specific foots for the invisible zip that made a big difference. Because you're probably aware they're kind of curled over, and you've got to uncurl them to zip underneath the zip and things like that, to sew underneath the zip.
I know you've got a variety of different feet for your machine in the workshop. Have you got a number 3?
A number 3? Not at the moment. So is that something I need to look into?
Yes,
number 3 foot?
Because a number 3 foot has a groove underneath it that guides the uncurling of the invisible zip,
I see.
and it makes it so much easier.
Okay.
So
So
I
number
think
3 foot.
you need to either check whether you've got one.
Okay.
You may well have one.
May have come with the sewing machine. I've just never looked at it.
Yeah, because that is definitely somewhere that you could streamline that
Yeah.
process, because it just, you just sew it and
Yeah. So that's right tool for the right
it
job. in other
uncurls
words,
it as you go. Yeah. Yeah, you can also get invisible zip feet, but I've found the number 3 is perfect for it. So I think if you already had one, that would be brilliant. The cutting out, thinking about streamlining that, it's not easy because you don't want to make a mistake,
Yeah.
I suppose, with someone's precious item.
I was thinking of, like, if they're standard side cushions, I would, rather than measure with a ruler, I would have a template, like a wooden template, so I could just mark.
That's a good idea.
And then you could place the template, not even wooden, even cardboard would probably do
Yeah,
the trick,
or
or plastic.
flute
Yeah,
or
core
something.
flute might be
Yeah.
another good idea.
Yeah, you want to be able to store
Yeah,
those
then I can
easily.
move it around and just find the correct spot.
I think
and
that's a
just
great
simply
idea. Yeah,
trace on the inside or outside, depending.
yeah, something that was transparent
Yeah,
would be great, or sort of a frame so you
Yeah.
could make sure you were lined up. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Okay.
because it's that measuring with the ruler and measuring twice, and it takes a bit of time. But with a template, you
And
know, it's
have
going
you
to be
got
the
it
right
exactly
size.
square?
That's right.
Yeah.
You can make it right every time.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I did bring in some items of clothing so we could have a little chat about how you might turn these into a cushion. So first I've got this hoodie
Mm-hmm.
that you can see. It's got a logo
Brand name, yeah.
on the front, and it's got a pocket as well. And I think it would be interesting if you could incorporate those, or one or both of those, into the design, especially as we did speak about pockets last time, and maybe putting in a scent or a photo or something. So, you know, where could you cut? It's difficult because there's quite a gap between
Yes.
the logo here and the pocket. That's quite a large gap.
Yeah.
Would you put a seam in? Would you try and
Well,
incorporate
It
both?
might be a case of put pocket on one side and the logo on the other, so you can have a
Possibly, if you
double-sided
had-
cushion if there was enough. Because I've got the
That's
back of
true.
that
Yeah,
as well, so I could use
that's very
half
true.
the back and half the front, so there'd be a seam in the middle of the cushion that you
Yeah.
could even make a feature
Yep.
of. Hoodie could be a bit more difficult to incorporate the hoodie if they wanted to.
The hood
but,
itself.
the
yeah,
hood itself.
That's hard.
That could
Yes,
be-
unless that was the top of your cushion.
If they
Yeah.
wanted it, it could be one of those value-added
Yeah.
items. So it might be like, yes, I can make a cushion for $85 using the logo in the pocket. If you want the hood, you might be looking at maybe $120 because it just makes it that little bit
Yeah.
more difficult. But if they want it, then they're willing, you know,
Yeah,
to cover the
I'm
cost,
thinking
then that's
quite
fine.
nice if that was a cushion and people could actually hug it
Yeah,
and put their
and
hands
put their
in.
hands in the
Be-
pocket. Yeah,
that'd
absolutely.
feel quite nice. Yeah. Okay, that was the first thing
It's a nice material though.
It
Using a
is.
jumper would be a good idea.
and it's a good weight for a
tactile, yeah.
cushion as well. If
Mm.
you've got something flimsy,
Because that would
not-
be the sort of thing,
not so
if
good.
they were asking advice, what's a good item of clothing to make? And if I said, look, if you've got a jumper or hoodie, something with thicker material.
yeah,
so,
and if it's got a zip, then
could
there's your
incorporate
opening.
the zip. Yep,
You don't need to put in your own zip.
that's correct.
That's
yeah.
a way of streamlining, isn't it? And actually the same here with this shirt. It's got this
That nice pink
gorgeous
feature.
pink
Yeah.
and the buttons. So there's your closure
Yeah,
for the
and
cushion.
I'd try and incorporate that collar too. I think the collar would make a nice feature somewhere,
Possibly.
perhaps.
You'd
Sew it
have
down. It'd be sewed down. It wouldn't be
to-
something they'd be folding up. But
Yeah. This one hasn't got a
No
pocket, but
pocket
if
on
there
that
was a
one.
little pocket, it would be nice as well to have that
fashion a pocket
incorporated.
out of a sleeve, perhaps out of a.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other reason I chose this is because the fabric is quite thin and a little bit transparent.
Yeah,
You wouldn't want to be able to see the cushion
Cushion inside,
insert
yeah.
through there. So I think if you had something like this, it would be worth getting an old white sheet or some muslin or something
Yeah.
like that, and
Yeah, I've got plenty of that
And
around
just
the
make
house, just from offcuts from
really,
cushions.
yeah,
a
really
simple
quick lining.
undercover. Yeah.
I think would, because otherwise, if it was me, I'd be looking at it thinking, a bit disappointed.
Especially
that you can see
if
through.
people wanted something with lace in it, something that might have
Yeah.
want an undercover, an
I
underlay.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could have brought some more things there. I thought I did have something else, but I don't know where I've put it. That's okay. But it was the same kind of idea. Yeah, use the buttons, use the
Use what's on there.
yeah, incorporate the pattern. So just going back to what we were talking about, that zip, that would make that streamlined. So just put use existing closure to streamline that part of it. But yeah, still look into that number 3 foot. Okay, so
What about leather? Is that if someone had a leather jacket? How different? I haven't done much sewing with leather. Have you got much experience with sewing leather?
what kind of machines are you using in your
I'm
workshop?
using a standard. It's a Bernina, an older style Bernina. I find them a bit more sturdy, but
That should be fine.
it should be fine.
If you use a leather needle, have you got any of those?
I do have some leather needles. Yeah.
It's important to have that because needles, the tip of it have different ways of going into the fabric, and the right tip is really important for the right job. So a leather needle, and as long as it's not too thick and you're not trying to get through too many layers, then I do think that would be possible. It might be something that you would put a surcharge because it's a difficult fabric.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe you'd want to have a look at it, or at least have a look at a photo of it before you agreed.
Because I was just
to go
thinking
ahead
if
with
someone, had a motorcycle jacket or something like that. Their dad was into motorcycle riding and had an old leather jacket.
Yeah, it would be something that you could definitely think about, or you could use the back of the jacket as one side of the cushion and some other fabric on the other side, so you're not sewing through too many thick layers. Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. Right. So we've talked about sewing up your basic cushion. You've done a fantastic job of that one. I'd like to see you incorporating some more of the features of the actual garment. Would be nice. Maybe if you had time, you could think about doing another sample before our next session.
Yep.
What would make the cushion feel more special rather than just that basic version? I think we've talked about adding the text, the handwriting, and the text.
We mentioned at the start,
Okay.
just increasing my software skills with Canva and incorporate the writing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said, adding that lining to make it feel nicer.
Just gives it a sense of quality, I suppose, too, as well, with the lining.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I think we need to have a practice with that handwriting idea, because it was going to be something that we left until maybe you'd already launched this part of the business, but I think it might be something, given what you found on Etsy, it might be something to try now.
Right.
From the beginning to give that point of difference in your business. So do you think you would be able to have a bit of a try? We've talked about doing the heat transfer in somebody's writing. What about if you were also able to do it, like you talked about pets cushions, what if you had a pet name and put that on the the
Oh,
cushion.
absolutely, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and have you got any other ideas for, say, you were doing pet cushions? Um, what could you do on those to make them a bit unique, a bit special? Like, could you add the
What
collar
the
or
collar somehow? Like if there was a pocket similar to the people ones, you'd have a bit of a pocket where you could put their collar or just their name tag. Maybe if they had a
name tag?
name tag, they could
What
go,
if
or
you
even the
had
name tag was hanging from the zip. Perhaps if I could incorporate it there, or
But the zip's generally on the side. What
Right.
if you had a little loop or something and you could clip the name tag to it? That would be really nice on
Okay.
the front of the
Yep.
cushion. Have a think about that.
like a cloth loop that you would, or a metallic loop. What do you
Depends
think?
really on the client,
Yeah.
and there are a few ways you could do it. Cloth loop would be fine. A little one like you have on the end of a dog lead.
Yep. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes.
Or even
yeah.
you could use the end
like
of the
a
dog lead.
carabiner type clip.
Yeah, so you could cut the end of their dog lead and then have the name tag hanging from that and sew it
Yep.
onto the cushion. Yeah. Okay. So do you feel like maybe before we meet again you could do a sample of a cushion incorporating more
Yep,
features of a
okay.
garment and maybe a sample of a pet
The
cushion?
second prototype, yeah, putting
Yeah.
in some like the pockets and sleeve items and
Yeah.
pouches and
Yeah.
names and things like that. Absolutely, I think I'd be
Yeah.
ready for that.
Okay. Right, that'd be great. Okay, and we'll think about the putting a name on it, putting some features on it, and yeah, I think that would be good. All right, if we talk a little bit about promotion, social media promotion, and how are we going to put the
Get
word
it
out?
there, yeah. I was thinking of having a big bus, big banner on the side. No.
What I wanted to ask you to make you think about how what kind of message you want to
Yeah.
have is how do you want your customers to feel
Mm.
when they first see that cushion?
But like I said, I want to evoke memories of joy. So I want people to feel happy and not lost. Because I think often when people have mementos, it makes them feel the grief rather than the joy of that person or pet that they've lost. So it'd have to be, and I'd probably consult with them and say, if you have an item of clothing or something that you have fond memories over, and rather than any sort of negative connotations. But that's something that's to be worked on. So I want people to look at that piece and smile would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
So every time they look at it, they smile and they have a happy memory about the person or their pet.
Yeah.
Because that's what the job of these mementos is to make them remember the happy times.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant, and that is definitely something we can use in the marketing. I think, just as an aside, that it's probably going to be quite emotional to see that the first time.
Yeah.
Maybe the first few times.
Tears of joy are good. It's still joy, though. Yes.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, say we were going to put out our first social media post, thinking about those things you've just said. Have you got any ideas for what you might do for that?
I'm not especially au fait with social media. That might be another one of those skills I need to brush up on. Of a certain generation where things like Snapchat and Instagram is a little bit, I'd not say out of my reach, but it's not one of my fortes. I'd still be thinking about advertising in newspapers, which nobody does anymore, I'm assuming. So, but I do realise that social media is the way to go.
Yeah.
Even websites tend not to do as well as I think Instagram accounts. And
I
things
think
like
that's
that.
right. And don't worry too much about that at this stage because in our next session, we'll be talking more about
Okay.
those kinds of things. What I want you to think about is really just imagine any kind of ad that you
Yeah.
see that's
Yeah.
maybe in a magazine
Yeah.
or something, and we can translate that to social media. So thinking about this cushion bringing somebody joy, making them smile, have you got any thoughts of how you'd like to promote it? Maybe a photo?
A photo.
some words?
That's a good question. That might be something that I'll need to think about a little bit more. How do you evoke joy through photos and things like that? So clearly it'd have to be a photo that the owner or the family member knows really well, like they were there themselves on the day. So they remember the day they took the photo or the photo was taken. So they can associate their own personal experience with that photo. Rather than, this is just an old photo of Dad when he was in the army, which might be quite nice and you might have both theirs, but you don't know the context of that photo. So if you could put yourself in the photo, if you were there for not yourself personally in the photograph, but if you were there that day it was taken, then you remember that day if it was a nice day, if you know what I mean. So you'd say, that's the day we were at the beach and, Dad built a sandcastle with me and then the wave came and crashed it down and we laughed and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but for an ad,
for an ad.
I'm thinking more maybe a photo of an older man or woman with a cushion
Or maybe cuddling their dog, then it fades to them cuddling the cushion with a photo of their dog on it, and it's like memories don't fade or something as a bit of a logo.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's really nice. Yeah. Okay.
With the same smile on her face, like she's
Yeah.
cuddling the dog, smiling, cuddling the cushion, smiling. Memories don't fade.
Okay. Yeah. We need to do dogs and humans.
Yes,
but,
of course.
Yeah, but you could have a similar idea, maybe a photo of an obvious partner, maybe a husband wearing a jumper and she's holding the cushion in the same jumper.
Or having a couple having a cup of tea together, and then it's one of them having a cup of tea with the cushion and maybe a cup next to the cushion.
Oh, it's really pulls the heartstrings, doesn't it? Yeah, I think those are lovely ideas. Okay. I think also you'd want to have some photos of the cushion, like a sample cushion, which we'll have soon.
Yeah.
In really nice lighting, maybe near a window.
Is it worth getting professional photographers, or is that going a bit far at this point?
Probably a bit expensive, and you can take pretty good photos with a phone.
I have a proper camera. I mean,
Okay.
I'm old school. I've got a high megapixel camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you have that, you can probably take reasonable
pretty
photos. Yeah. Some close-ups of the stitching.
Okay.
Maybe.
I never thought of that. Just the production value in it. Yeah.
Maybe some hands. Maybe some old hands on the cushion, or like those kinds of things. I mean, I have set you quite a few tasks this week, but if you do have time to take any photos, that would be quite good, or just have a think about, maybe as you're doing other things, think about the photos. Okay, I think we've done made some really good points today. Okay, what you might also think about is why would somebody make a cushion out of a garment rather than just keeping it in a drawer?
As is, yeah.
That could also be something that you have in your advertising campaign. Ideas to be pondered on.
And don't hide your memories in a drawer. Have them where you can touch them and.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about quite a lot of ideas today. How are you feeling?
A little bit overwhelmed, but I think I'm ready for it. I'm ready
Okay.
for this next step. So
That's great.
it's that feelings of overwhelm, but also excitement. I think there's quite a bit of
Good.
excitement that
Very
things
good.
seem to be moving ahead in the right direction, and I'm quite hopeful and excited about it.
I feel excited
Mm.
about it too. And I think that you've certainly got the skills. I think you're
Thank
going to
you.
do
I
a really
appreciate
good job of
it.
this. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I will send you a summary email with those
Yep.
points that we've
Thank you.
discussed and the things that I would like you to think about for the next session. And same time next week.
Thank you, yeah.
Happy with that?
Or should it be 2 weeks? Give me time to sew those cushions. Would 2 weeks be better for
2
you?
weeks
Or
be
2 weeks.
fine
Okay,
with
let's
me.
do that.
Yeah. Okay.
No
Thanks
problem.
very much.
Thank you.
See you then.